Hello everyone, welcome back. In this episode of Bitcoin Trade here, I'm going to discuss some off-related topic, but I think it's going to affect Bitcoin in the future. As you see here, California facing mega drought. Last time I was in California and there was a drought. I think for 2 months it rained, and there was basically a lot of flooding going on. And for 10 years of drought, 2 months of rain just wiped out all that drought, just filled all the reservoirs. Unfortunately, it flooded the rest of California. So here we are, almost probably 20 years later, and maybe even more. And look where we are again. Well, look where California is again, facing mega drought. And this time I think it's really bad because I used to live in California, and California is a major agricultural state. It basically feeds a lot of people, a lot of farmers out there, cash crops, you name it, and they're basically, the whole crops are dying. Something that, all they do is just plant and water it and just wait for the next season to take harvest. The plants are dying. The trees are dying. The ground is becoming unfertile. This is a huge issue, and if you see my last episode, you'll know I'm revealing more and more about the Bitcoin and how it works, and how it's going to work for you. So if you saw my last episode, or if you're just coming to see my episode right now, and you just, I don't know, you Googled it, whatever, YouTubed it, go start back at Bitcoin Trade 01 and watch the whole thing. And you're going to see a lot of boring charts that may not even apply to you, but at least you'll get an idea of how to do chart analysis. But you'll understand what I'm talking about, because in my previous episode I mentioned that everything's going to be pegged to Bitcoin. The currency represents the legal tender of that country, or that government, whatever, central authority, it doesn't matter. And with that Bitcoin, with that legal tender being pegged to Bitcoin, you can then know your purchasing power of whatever material, land, grocery, business, airspace, water is worth in relation to the legal currency of that country, jurisdiction, whatever. And so this is why I think this may affect the price of Bitcoin, because if you really look at what Bitcoin is, it's a measure of the worth of, particularly the dollar. But since everything's almost pegged to the dollar, and the dollar is now pegged to Bitcoin, you'll really know what the value of a dollar is. You'll eventually start to understand the value of the dollar. Now, what the value of the dollar really represents is also the value of things in relation to the physical world, which would be gold, a house, your car. So what does that have to do with the drought? Well, believe it or not, your food is a very precious resource, and water grows food. Okay, just as much as the sun grows food, water also grows food. And without that water, you can't even have any food. So what does that mean? How is that related to Bitcoin? Well, if the U.S. dollar, if things that you buy is pegged to the U.S. dollar, and then the U.S. dollar is pegged to Bitcoin, in relation to other markets, you can determine how valuable your Bitcoin is in that particular market. So what you're going to see, I'm not a economist. I can't predict the future, but I can get an idea based on what's happening here that there could be well, obviously there's a water shortage, and I'm not here to commoditize water. I don't believe in commoditizing um, a natural resource that is imperative to my life. I'm not interested in paying $1 million so I could drink water. What I am interested in is I want to know how this is going to affect my purchasing power, because I'm sure they're not going to charge $1 million for water. Not yet, anyway. That's the scary part. But um, but water grows food, and so that's going to raise your cost of food. All right, and on top of that, there's less food to go around, raising the price. So how is that going to help with your Bitcoin? Well, since the dollar is pegged to Bitcoin, and the cost of food will go up, essentially hopefully you would expect that the US dollar would, excuse me, also go up in relation to Bitcoin. And like I said, I'm buying groceries. I'm buying food to feed my family. So when I see this, and I understand, what an agricultural state like California, how much water, is worth, it's going to be big. So you should keep this in mind. And also, California's always had problems with stuff like this. Energy. When they had the electricity crisis, people were paying normal $4,000. Businesses were paying $4,000, and then when the shortage of electricity came by because of Enron, all of a sudden they're paying $10,000 a month. It was incredible. Hold on here, and let me cut out here and come back in. All right, sorry about that. I'm cutting back in here. So yeah, there's my take on this. I know it's a little side note, but when you get into Bitcoin, you'll start realizing, you'll start realizing how important your little imaginary Bitcoin is to the rest of the world, and what it means to own a Bitcoin. All right. So this goes on to my other news here, which is no, that's going to be a little different here. Okay, right here. So here's another article that I read, which is I think I'm finding very interesting. The emerging Bitcoin civil war. Okay, well, basically, it looks like there's some group of Bitcoin users who aren't happy with some of the things that are going on with Bitcoin. And so, they like to be completely unregulated. I guess they're being labeled as anarchist here, but let me tell you something, okay? And I strongly feel about the way I feel about this. Like, look at this. They got a little civil war thing with Bitcoin, and things people do to get you to read. But I think there's something to it here. There is something to this thing, okay? That first of all, Bitcoin is independent of everybody. All right, Bitcoin will become whatever Bitcoin wants to become. All right, and if you're quote unquote anarchist or libertarian, you would respect that. Because if you want to know what my idea of self-rule is, it's a world without anarchist. Isn't that kind of like contradictive? Anarchists believe in self-rule. Well, my idea of self-rule is a world without anarchist. Can you respect that? Of course not. Because being an anarchist in itself is a complete contradiction, in my opinion. So, anyways, for all you anarchists and libertarian out there, Bitcoin is also independent of of you guys, even though maybe you guys were the early adopters and really utilized it in well, in stupid ways, and instead of understanding the full power and potential of what Bitcoin really is and how it really works. Okay. Yeah. Now maybe some of you guys created this, or I know you guys took it on and accepted it and embraced it, and now you know now it's come to mainstream, and you're like, wow, what happened to our Bitcoin? Well, it was never your Bitcoin. Okay. Well, you own the Bitcoin, but you don't control Bitcoin. Kind of, you understand what I'm saying? That's why I think anarchists are a contradiction in itself. They want to control Bitcoin to be unregulated, but look what they're doing. They're trying to control Bitcoin, which is against being an anarchist, which is a concept of self-rule. But if you understand what Bitcoin is, you understand Bitcoin isn't ruled by anybody. It is what it is at the time that it is, if that makes any sense. So it talks about here emerging Bitcoin civil war. I think for Bitcoin to reach its full potential, it's growing. And so thank you, anarchists and libertarians and whatever early adopters. You babied this thing. This baby has grown to a toddler now and needs a different kind of care and understanding and I guess rearing. It is, and it's, if you think about it, it's still Bitcoin itself is new. These concepts are not that new, but what's new, and I think maybe my opinion, the original creators, maybe not, I'm not sure. Who knows who or what is what is it? What's the name? Satoshi Nakamoto. Okay. Not even I think they knew what they created, really. But the biggest difference is I believe there are some people who were involved in creating Bitcoin are maybe into gold. Okay, they're into gold, or they're into some kind of limited resource economy kind of thing, which is fine. Again, nothing new, and I think it's more this kind of economy makes more sense. But people come to me and say, hey, we're going to be on a economy-based resource-based economy, and I look at them and I say, we already are in a resource-based economy. What's the problem? We already are in one. What are you saying? We should pay by the amount of resource we can extract from the earth? Well, we already are doing these things. I think that the problem is maybe that it's being done in a way that is not sustainable. But we've always been in a resource-based economy, always, in my opinion. So I think maybe the creators may have been kind of had that thought in mind with Bitcoin, but I think they missed something, and ironically they missed something that was right under their nose. Was okay, what some of these concepts didn't have in the past, which we have now currently, is the technology, the technology to exponentially increase the use of Bitcoin to the world in an exponential rate of usage and growth, I should say. I don't know how to say it, but exponentially, this thing is just going to take on and have a life of its own. And I keep saying this. I mean, people who made this and are using it should. I'm surprised you're shocked and you're not recognizing this, but Bitcoin, this symbol here, which it doesn't even really matter what symbol it's a B with a dollar kind of looking sign, but it has no face value. If you want to get really creepy, it's 13 put together. I mean, whatever, whatever, who, whatever you want to do, okay, whatever, whatever you want to see it as, it doesn't really matter to me. What I'm saying is, uh, I think maybe the original creators or the early adopters missed something that was right under their nose. Is this we have technology now, and this technology allows us to accelerate the purpose of Bitcoin to whatever we want it to be. And you just have to respect it, or otherwise you're and in some ways you are a lot, as I see it, you're a contradiction to yourself if you can't accept that. So I just want to share that with you. And if there is some strife, yeah, of course there is, because you know what? You don't control Bitcoin. You don't, you may own Bitcoins, but you don't control Bitcoins. No one does. It's uh, if it makes you happy to hear this, Bitcoin is an anarchist. It's self-ruling. It does what it wants to do. Okay, now accept it. Kind of sucks, doesn't it? Accepting something you don't like, but you have to because, well, that's what you bought into. Anyways, what's next? Okay, so we're going back to this again. This is more of a news kind of thing, going over Bitcoin over gold. Bitcoin over gold. Are you kidding? And I guess for him it's a joke, but again, what I've noticed in a lot of these arguments, and this goes back to this article too. Bitcoin ignites Ron Paul's parallel currency revolution. If you read this article, they're trying to make gold, the Bitcoin, to be pegged to gold, right? Because they're really pushing gold. Now, you know what? Bitcoin can be whatever it wants to be. If you want Bitcoin to be pegged to gold, you can do that. But what's funny is the way they want to do it is they want to make like a cryptocurrency to reflect that. So basically they're just making another copy of the original Bitcoin. And second thing is, I believe Bitcoin to be an instrument of credit. Gold is an instrument of credit. How does that work? You're pairing credit for credit. It's just 1-to-1, and it'll always be 1-to-1. I don't know. I don't know how this would work, but again, if I want gold, I'll go to the jewelry store and buy some gold or wherever. But without gold is a physical commodity, or you could say it's a physical money, whatever. My issue has always been that it's physical in nature. And if you don't have physical gold, you don't have anything. Bitcoin by itself, ironically, is nothing. So I don't know how you can make gold, which is real and physical, and try to make it into a Bitcoin. I mean, I understand what they're trying to do, but I don't know. It's just kind of weird. My whole point, debt is really nothing. It's created from nothing. Well, so is Bitcoin. Bitcoin's really nothing either. We just believe in debt and concept. Debt and credit in concept. Gold is physical. Why would you want to turn it into some kind of conceptual, financialized idea? I don't know. I just don't. The gold thing. Let me see. Where is the gold? This whole gold thing of. Now, if you see my other episodes, I've already discussed gold versus Bitcoin. And again, I think people who look at history or are historians, or they see gold, and yes, gold was money. It still is money. I wouldn't take gold, first of all, so I don't know how useful gold is as money. But yes, it does have value. It does have some stored value. Um, Perhaps you can transfer that value into some kind of device, if you understand what a device is from my previous episodes. Device meaning it can be transferred into another medium, like money can be turned electronically, what you're all used to, and then we can convert that into a paper check, money order, or it could be just as good as cash. Uh, Cash is nothing more than paper, which has a stored value to it. Um, if you take these concepts, and you could apply them, I guess, to gold in some sense. There is some value to it. A lot of people push gold being as intrinsic as because we can use it for something. Well, I guess I can wear gold. Um, I don't know. A lot of gold conducts electricity, so you see in a lot of computer chips. Um, so maybe some other stuff with gold. I don't know. So, but Bitcoin over gold. Some people are. My point is, what I'm trying to say is that I think a lot of people don't account for what wasn't in the past. Okay, if you look at history, what wasn't in the past? Electricity was uh, not very widely available in the past. Okay, uh, so that's one thing that's very different. Technology is different as well. Um, how does gold play in today's technology, in today's world? Okay, considering developed nations, okay, and specifically in developed nations, maybe gold. Like if you're in like Somalia, yeah, maybe you can do something with gold over there, But you know what? Remember what I said? Uh, if gold becomes a standard of a method of payment as money, uh, I believe you're going to be in like a Somalia scenario where you need armed gunmen around you at all times because you're going to become a target, and you couldn't give your gold away fast enough to save your life. All right, you would have to literally build an army, which costs money, and you go back to the I don't know. You would be a king, and then you would have servants, and you would basically be able to enslave people because um, you could charge people for tax literally for protection money. If you're dealing in gold by that time, you will be charging people for protection money because you're going to be building a border, a wall around your community or your kingdom, and basically you're going to prevent the barbarians from entering into through the gates. I mean, is that I mean, we're looking at history here, and I mean that's what I see. Now, how does that apply to a developed nation? I don't know. I don't think it applies at all. I see where it applies when social order and society has collapsed. But by then, I already mentioned what would be more important than gold if that happened. Number one, you're going to need something to defend yourself or protect yourself or even go hunting with to acquire a source of food, which would be a weapon of some kind. Typically, it would be a gun, but of course, guns, when I say guns, it would also include ammunition as well. So guns are useless without the bullets, all right? But doesn't mean always a gun. It could mean a knife, a spear, or some kind of weapon to either protect yourself and or go hunting with. All right. So, and then the other thing that I think is high up there doesn't have to be a gun. I'm just giving an example. The other thing would be your knowledge, your skills. Do you know how to extract resources from the earth? Because that's what it's going to take to rebuild a civilization if it ever breaks down. Do you know how to get turn water into clean, drinkable water? Um, you know, do you know how to turn tree into paper? Plastics into some kind of container? Metal into some kind of nut, bolt, screw, rod, whatever you need to make out of. I mean, do you know how to do those things? Can you turn gold into a computer? Can you make a circuit board? Can you so that's what I'm saying. The knowledge is going to be more important than any gold or even Bitcoin at that point. But, we're not there. So how does gold apply to today's world? I don't see an application. So that's why I always kind of scratch my head with people who so hard into gold. And you know what? If you got gold is a real physical thing that came from this earth in the real world. Getting paper issued gold is just as worthless as money or even Bitcoin, unless you're actually getting real gold. And like I said, it's gold is heavy, it's cumbersome. I don't know anybody that would take payment in gold, because I wouldn't take payment in gold, and I wouldn't really want gold because it doesn't mean anything to me. All right. So we're back to this argument again. So I just want to reiterate. Please go back to the episodes where I see, where I talk about this. And if you feel I'm wrong about it, or I'm being too whatever, taken out of context, go ahead, leave a comment, all that good stuff. So, anyways, a little news update here. And so let's go to a chart analysis, because I know that's one of the reasons why you watch my videos. One of the reasons. Okay, so let's sorry about that. Let's go see what this is a little bit better. So let's see what happened. This is a 15-minute, and as you know, it's just been why I like to. This is a Mt. Gox, okay, and y'all know, if you're watching, or if you've seen all of my episodes, you'll know why I trade at Mt. Gox, okay. And I trade at Mt. Gox because I like the nice big bands and the spreads here. And what moves the price around is, like I said, market orders move the price, not limit orders that you see here. So someone has to make a market order to move the price around. So as you know, it's been banding here. And let's pull out to the different chart with the lines. Okay, so it pretty much did what I thought it would do, for the most part. It's still making an attempt to break through this top resistant line on this downward trending channel, and so it skirted along this bottom channel, made its way above to this channel. Now it's basically going into this triangle, and it's testing it, it's hitting it. Don't know what will happen, because it has to do two things to do anything. Has to go above this and be higher than that, and then that would be a signal definitely that it's going up. Other option is that it's going to fall below this and fall below this support line, and it's going to just hit further down. Let's see right there. 4, 6, let's try the 6 hour. There we go, 6 hour. So 6 hours. So who knows? Maybe I have to start a fresh chart and draw some new lines to figure out what's going on here. Like what is really going on here. But this is, if you've been watching my episodes, I mean, I've had this for a while, and you see for yourself. Am I full of it, or do I have some idea what's going on? Okay. So, anyways, price, if it falls below this support line, and also you see this is also another support line, but it's downtrending. So this is where it's playing at, and you can see the triangle here starting to, come out, and then it's just bouncing in here, and it's really got to decide here, because so far it's just been playing around within this range here. But I guess it doesn't really have to do anything, but there's somebody there's going to be a trader who's seeing the same thing I'm seeing. And what really drives the price is what people think the price is going to be. And it could be based on the news, it could be based on regulations that are put out, it could be whatever. Maybe he just feels like buying a lot of Bitcoin, or maybe somebody feels like buying or selling a lot of Bitcoin. It doesn't matter. It's just what one person thinks Bitcoin is worth. That's it. And again, nobody controls Bitcoin. Okay, if you own one, two, three, you have some influence, but you don't control it. You can't manipulate something that has you have no control over. You can own it. That's about the only thing you can do. But owning something, having an ownership in Bitcoin is huge, because remember what I said, that all the currencies is pegged to one Bitcoin. And with that one Bitcoin, I can go anywhere around the world. I'm in America now, so I'm dealing with US dollars. So I own the US dollar through a Bitcoin. So one Bitcoin is $952 right now. Having ownership of that Bitcoin means that you can practically have ownership of America. Because if everything, here you go, okay guys, all you guys who this is the master plan of Bitcoin. All right, I'm giving you a little tidbit of the master plan of Bitcoin, so stop arguing and just go along with it. One Bitcoin, everything, all the currencies will be pegged to the Bitcoin. With that one Bitcoin, I can go and basically, depending on the value of the currency, or whatever I feel like the value of a currency could be or will be in the future, based on where and when I expend my Bitcoin. Alright? So if I go to, for example, if I have Bitcoin and my Bitcoin can buy me more things in America versus Europe, because I'll understand what does one thing cost in America and another thing cost in Europe, and I can compare those two prices in relation to my one Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin that comes out less, well, my Bitcoin is worth more in that currency. And so I could, in theory, go to that currency, or go to that country where the currency is legal tender, and take advantage of my purchasing power. Alright? And basically that would allow me to do a lot of things. And it doesn't always have to be about the money. It can be about your principles. It can be about the things that you believe. So Bitcoin transcends a financial instrument. It can be ultimately your vote, your voice, your conscience. It could be your will. So let me ask you, what is Bitcoin? What is it? What is Bitcoin to you? What does it mean? What is Bitcoin to you? And how can you make it work for you? All right. So, anyways, a little tidbit there. So, anyways, we can, a lot of possibilities. A lot of things happening here. I mean, you're looking at an equal distance and range on where it can go. It's just sitting right in the middle. So, I don't know. I mean, I've already told you that I have my position set. And whether it goes up or it goes down, it doesn't matter to me, because if it goes up, I already have skin in the game. Alright, I got real money in the game. Now, if you know what money is, you'll realize the money doesn't mean a damn thing. What means the most more to me right now is having that credit, owning a 1 Bitcoin credit. So if it goes up, I'm happy. If it goes down, I'm basically gonna get rid of my fiat currency, which I know is absolutely worthless and completely free, and basically buy more Bitcoins with it at a lower price. And I told you so many ways where you can trade this and take advantage of purchasing power, price difference, um, how you can generate more free Bitcoins for yourself, or if you're into US dollars, you could generate, how you can generate some revenue doing this. Not for me, it's just trying to get more Bitcoins. So, anyways, I hope that helps you. I'll end it out right there. Feel free to comment, like, dislike, or even leave a video response. Until then, stay tuned for the next episode. Bye now.